super foodies, and welcome back to Cooking with Angeli. Today we're making a festive Christmas dessert which you guys have got to try. I made it last year on Boxing Day and everybody loved it. Let's just get started. Okay, to begin with, we're gonna start with making our gingerbread spice. So I'm gonna take my coffee grinder. I've already got a lot of these ingredients ground already, but I wanna mix them up together. And sometimes I don't always have them ready ground, like I'll have a full cinnamon stick, but today I've got 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon powder here. I've also got 1.5 teaspoons of ginger powder in here, which I'm gonna add. And in here, I've got 5 cloves, and I've got a small piece of nutmeg. So there's the nutmeg, and then I've got 5 clove pieces in here. I've not added any sugar to this, so this is just gingerbread sort of spice. We're gonna pop this on and I'm gonna ground it all together. Let's check it. A little bit more. Okay, that's now ground into a really, really fine powder, and I'm gonna empty it out into this bowl. So fine. And I'm just gonna pop that aside for now. Next, we're gonna get our cheesecake base ready. I've got 200 grams of digestive biscuits and 200 grams of gingernut biscuits here. I'm gonna pop them into a bag. I'm just gonna let the air out the bag as much as I can so that the bag doesn't pop. And I wanna spread the biscuits out so that they are as flat as possible. And we're gonna crush them. Rather than rolling, I prefer to crush them by pressing down. Okay, I'm gonna try a different rolling pin. I'm gonna try my good old Woodley Villain. Let's see if that's better. It's easier to use the thinner rolling pin because you can apply more pressure at a specific point, which is right along the middle part here. And that way you can actually roll it a little bit more. Today's workout. Okay, I think those are pretty crushed. There's a couple of big parts in there, but I'll give it a wiggle around and hopefully I'll be able to get the big parts. Okay, that's our bag of gingernut biscuits. I'm gonna do the digestive biscuits in a separate bag because the bags are really small. And if you break them as you put them into the bag, they just crush a bit easier. Again, we're gonna try and get as much air out as we can and flatten them. And of course, you don't want it to be too fine, otherwise it's not really gonna have a lot of consistency and it's not gonna build the base properly. It will be more collapsible and more brittle. I think this one is done. What I'm gonna oh, there's a hole in the bag. What I'm gonna do is add this bag to that bag. I was gonna do that anyway. Even more reason to now that the bag's ripped. There we go. And that's our base in there. In this bowl, I have 800, I have 80 grams of butter, which I'm gonna melt in the microwave. I melted it for about 50 seconds, and I'm gonna add it to the crumbs. I'm gonna try my best not to get it everywhere. There. And I wanna wiggle it around as much as I can before the bag starts to melt, because it's kind of hot. But the biscuits are in fact cooling the butter down as well. So that's our base mix, and now I'm gonna add it into my cheesecake pan, which has already been lined with parchment. And all I did was draw around the base with a pencil, cut up the parchment, measure the strips to the width of the tin, and then cut those out, and then line the tin with butter and stick them on. We're gonna add the crumbs to the tin. I'm just gonna empty this out. There are a couple of big chunks. If I feel like I need to, I'll use the back of a spoon to press them down and break them up. And I'm gonna use my spatula to press this in. And press it down, pack it in nice and neatly so that it's level. If you prefer, you can arrange it so that some of the base is coming up, but I'm not baking this. This is a no-bake cheesecake, so I'm just gonna do it flat and as even as I can. I'm actually gonna break these up by hand. Now where the cheesecake is a little bit lopsided, I'm just pressing the higher side so that the biscuit moves towards the other side. That's done, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge to set whilst we do our cream cheese layer. We're gonna start with the chocolate. I've got 200 grams of white chocolate. I'm just gonna add it to this bowl. Now, you can melt your white chocolate over your normal bain-marie over the gas. I'm going to do this in burst in the microwave because I just find it a little bit easier. I'm gonna make sure that I break up all the pieces so that it increases the surface area and melts a lot quicker. I've tried my best to keep this recipe in the same unit, so I've tried to keep everything in grams, even the liquid, so we're not going to use a measure to measure milliliters or liters. I'm going to measure out 200 grams of double cream. We're going to whisk this until it forms stiff peaks. Stiff peaks? Yeah? I think so. We don't want to overdo it. So there's the stiff peaks. All the air's been whipped in. I'm just going to keep it aside. I'm going to take another bowl and add 200 grams of cream cheese. This is just plain cream cheese, original from Asda. It's not seasoned or flavored. There's 200 grams in here, so I'm going to just add it into the bowl and just pop it in using the spatula. Liquid and everything, it's fine, just use it all. So into this bowl, I'm going to add our gingerbread spice mix that we made. I'm also going to add vanilla extract. You guys can add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, but I'm going to use my spice drops here, and I'm gonna add 2 drops in. 1, 2. What I'm gonna do is whisk this all together using my electric whisk, and it's okay that there's some of the double cream on them, that's not a problem. That's all mixed together. Next, we're gonna add our white chocolate. Now, we don't want it to be too hot, so I'm just gonna wait until it's almost solid again. And I'm gonna keep stirring it with my spatula so that it cools it quicker. We're basically tempering it to cool it down. I actually kept the chocolate in the fridge freezer for about 2 minutes to allow it to cool down. And it's now cooled down. We are gonna add it into this and we are gonna whisk it all together. Now, I'll be honest, I think I could have used another pack of cream cheese. I'm gonna put half of the chocolate in and see what happens to it because I don't want it to be too loose, and we're gonna add the whipped cream as well. Okay, I added it, it's completely fine. I think we'll be all right adding the rest in, especially since the white chocolate is really starting to get thicker and solidify, but I'm still gonna add it in parts. Can't waste good chocolate. There we go. Tastes amazing. One thing to note, we've not added any sugar yet, and the reason for that is the chocolate. The chocolate's gonna give all the sweetness that it needs, so we're not gonna add any additional sugar to this. Keeping it a little bit healthier. But I mean, it's a cheesecake. There's only so healthy we can get. That's all mixed in nicely, so we're gonna fold in our whipped cream, making sure that we don't overdo it because otherwise we're gonna knock out all the air that we've whipped into it. We'll do it in parts again. I'm just gonna fold it in. It's gonna be a bit like a mousse. And even if we have little sections where it's not completely mixed in, that's fine. You'll get a little bit of a creamy taste that comes through. So I haven't really cut through that mixture. I've just folded it on top of itself so that it doesn't knock the air out, and we are left with a really smooth, creamy, mousse-like consistency. I'd say our base has been sat in the fridge for a good amount of time, and we're gonna add this layer to our base. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it this way. I try my best to do it in that angle because there's a camera that side, but sometimes I just can't help it. In all honesty as well, with the base, you could use double the amount of biscuits if you want a really thick layer of crumb. But on this occasion, I've just done 200 of each. You could potentially do 400 of each and make it a really thick cheesecake. I guess if you've got more guests coming, then you can do it that way and everybody will have a really high slice. And we're just gonna even that out. So starting from the middle, just pushing it around. I don't want it to touch the sides. So I'm just letting it, like I don't want it to be too much on the sides and have to pull it away. So I'm just pressing it towards the sides to try and get my even layer, and then you can make it nice and neat. Because once it sticks to the sides, it's really hard to get off. I always find that my cheesecakes are too much in the middle though. You can go two ways about this. You can be super even about it and neat, or you can make it look really rustic and messy. And it looks quite nice for Christmas, and then you can decorate it with things. And because it's a no-bake cheesecake, you can literally put whatever you like on top. And there we go. That's the cheesecake ready. Let's pop that there. So I'm gonna put this into the fridge or the freezer to set. You can do either, to be fair. I'm gonna put it in the freezer because it will set a little bit quicker and allow me to show you how I decorate it. But you guys can keep it in the fridge if you're not eating it on the day, and leave it in overnight and it will set just fine. Our cheesecake is done, and now we're gonna decorate it. It's pretty much set. So I left it in the freezer for about half an hour, which I tend to do if I'm in a rush and we need to eat it on the same day. But alternatively, you guys, like I said before, you can cover it with cling film or foil, and you can put it in the fridge or in the freezer overnight and it will set nicely. We are gonna decorate this with chocolate. You guys can choose to decorate this however you want to do it, but there's just something about ice cold set chocolate that breaks in between dessert, cake, ice cream. I really love the Magnum like crack ice cream and Viennetta and Ben & Jerry's fish food, and just things that kind of have a different texture like that. So I'm going to be using a mixture of dark chocolate, which I've got here, which I've melted in the microwave, and I've also got white chocolate because this is a white chocolate and gingerbread cheesecake, so I'm going to mix the two together. I'm going to start with so looking at the cheesecake, it's got this sort of shine to it already. We are going to start by adding this shimmer spray. That's it. And you only need a really, really little bit. It's just edible shimmer spray, and it's given a nice sheen to the cheesecake. It already had it, but I'm just going to lift it a little bit, so it doesn't really matter too much if you haven't got any. Next, I'm going to take my white chocolate, and I'm going to start with the tip of the spatula. I'm going to start running that across, and then I'm going to carry it onto the cheesecake. So it just, all of these sort of really thick lines will fall into the bowl, and then you get these really nice thin strokes across the cheesecake. Get some more. Want it a little bit thicker, because the cheesecake's quite a light colour. You can't really see the chocolate too much on it. I'm trying to keep it at the same angle as much as I can. If it goes diagonally a little bit, that's okay too. It looks quite nice. The reason I kept the cheesecake in here as well is because all of the chocolate that's flicking out will stay and will go onto the parchment paper. So it's not making too much of a mess. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that, otherwise it's going to colour the cover. I'm going to leave it at that, otherwise it's going to cover the colour of the cheesecake underneath. Now I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to add my dark chocolate, which I'm going to do the same way. Take a little bit less because it's a darker colour, and I'm going to just flick that across. I actually flick it as much as I can because then it reaches quite into the cheesecake. I don't need to worry about it going everywhere too much. There are a few thick parts, but it's okay. That's fine. So now I'm gonna take off the sides, and I'm hoping it will go back on because I don't want to eat this today. I'm gonna keep this in the fridge until Christmas Day, and until everybody comes. But we had this last year and it went down a treat. So I can honestly say that you can take my word for it. It tastes amazing. Oh, plus I've already tried the cream cheese and it tastes really good. The white chocolate and the gingerbread is really, really prominent and it just tastes amazing. So I've lifted that off. This wasn't a good idea. There we go. And my cheesecake, everyone, is ready to go. I'm gonna add these because I love them. I'm gonna add them. They're like little snowman marshmallows. I bought them from Asda. So all the shopping that I've done for all these Christmas videos has been done for Asda. The milkshake that's coming next week, the pastry wreath that we did last week, everything, I've just gone to Asda and sort of raided their baking aisle, their seasonal aisle, and I saw these really, really cute marshmallows in the seasonal aisle, so I chose to pick them up. I'm just gonna pop them on top. There's a snowman and penguins there. Like this. And I guess that you guys can do whatever you like with it in terms of decoration. I quite like this. I think it looks quite cute. So I'm gonna leave it like this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. I mean, it really, really helps when you do. Please subscribe and make sure that you press the bell icon and click all. Of course, you can click personalize if you prefer, but if you click all, it means that you'll receive all the notifications whenever I make a video. Make sure you comment down below any recipes that you guys would like me to make. So any Christmas recipes that you want me to get ready for next year, I can start in advance and get busy working on it. And yeah, like I'm gonna go and pop this away, otherwise I'm gonna end up eating it before Christmas Day. But yeah, head over to angeli.parik on Instagram for more festive treats and festive tips and tricks. I'm gonna be making a fair amount of Christmas food over Christmas. So if you guys wanna see how I spend my Christmas Eve through Christmas Day, Boxing Day, which is also my mom's birthday, then go over and follow me on Instagram. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye everybody. I hope this works.